You're listening to Were You Still Talking? Hey, welcome back. This is Joel. And you're listening to Were You Still Talking, in case the intro wasn't enough for you, or in case you're watching this video live and I didn't bother to put an intro on it. Today, not in my studio, actually virtually in my studio, I have, I just blanked here. I got it. I have Sudi Karatas, which today is going by Sudi, and he is a writer, he's an actor, he's a producer, he's a singer-songwriter, and he's a writer. All kinds of hats. I have a million questions to ask him. He's done a lot of work. He's written at least 5 movies. He's got one of them right now on Amazon Prime, Walk a Mile in My Pradas. And he also has written a really interesting book. It's called Rainbow Relatives, Real World Stories and Advice on How to Talk to Kids About LGBTQ and Families and Friends. And so I think that's a really great book to have written. And, you know, it's probably needed. It's unfortunate to me that that's needed, because why would we need that? But anyway, thanks a lot for writing that book. And tell me a little more about it. And thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. Yeah, I had the idea probably almost 8 years ago, I think, or 9 years ago. And I had the idea for it, and I started interviewing some people and getting different stories on just basically how to talk to kids about different subjects related to LGBTQ, families, friends, topics. And by the time I finished it, which took a few years and interviewing people and stuff, the literary agent was like, well, he was kind of on the fence because he didn't know if this kind of book was even needed. But he went ahead with it, and then we got a publisher. And now it seems like it's needed even more than it was a few years ago, just because some things seem to go backwards and stuff. But
Right.
It started out as just for my sister's kids were kind of young at that time, my nieces and nephews, and I was just wondering if she had told them. They live in another state, and if they knew about my orientation, and she's like, I think so. I'm not sure how to approach that. I wish there was a book on that. And I'm like, I love to write stuff, so I'm like,
How perfect.
I'll write the book. And I didn't know where I was going to go with it, and I just started talking to different people, and they would refer me to other people. I ended up talking to Del Shores, who wrote the movie Sordid Lives, and he raised 2 daughters as a gay father. And
Mm-hmm.
Great movie, by the way, Sordid Lives, very funny. We just talked to a few. Most of the book is just real people, real stories on coming out to nieces and nephews, like uncles and aunts. Some of it's on, now a lot of kids have 2 dads and 2 moms. So I talked to people about that. And then one chapter was with therapists, just to get their professional answers on some of the questions that we had. But a lot of it's just fun, interesting stories from different people on different subjects, and also transgender is a big thing, subject. So there's a whole chapter on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would interview people. There's a chapter on religion. I call that Pray the Gay Bashers Away.
Oh, nice.
That seems to be the biggest issue for people is how they maybe misinterpret or misuse or use it as a weapon or whatever with religion. Nothing against religion itself. It's just the way people tend to just find ways of taking away other people's freedoms through it, So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it, and it's just funny you say, well, do we even need that kind of book? And it's really, I found it's helping a lot of people, and it's a lot more acceptable now than it was like 20, 30 years ago, but it's still not an easy, here's your cereal, son. Oh, by the way, Mom, I'm gay. It's still not.
Yeah,
an easy
it's
subject.
not. And I think, amongst people I know, it's probably a lot easier. It's an easier subject, but I know that there's still quite a bit of the population that it's not an easy subject. There's still people being attacked because of their orientation. And especially, it's got to be hard talking to kids who may have been raised differently. And it definitely seems to be, the issue seems to be coming from, I like the way you say it, misinterpreted religion. I definitely think that's the key there, because
Yeah.
I've never thought that Jesus would have said, well, he's gay. Don't be part of my crowd, and likely part of the people in his crowd were, and he would not say anything. That wouldn't bother him. Acceptance is acceptance, unconditional means unconditional. So, I mean, I really have two problems with the whole movement. One of them is that LGBTQ is hard for a lot of us to say. And the other thing is that there has to be a movement. I think it's sad. I think it's unfortunate that, because my parents were fighting for this, and my parents are a lot old. Well, they're dead now. That's how old they are. So it's I mean, it started with John F. Kennedy's assassination. We worked so hard for civil rights, and that means everybody. There's no, exclude anyone on that.
It also depends on where you grew up and where you live too. I don't know if you grew up in Oregon or somewhere else.
Right. I grew up in Oregon, and I lived 11 years in LA. So, a totally different world than probably someone who grew up in the middle of Missouri.
Right. And in the South, a lot of times. Now, a lot of people I spoke to, that was the interesting part of the book too. It was like, I spoke with two men who were raising kids in like South Carolina. So like that was
right.
At first really hard but people were actually coming around, and they saw how they were with the school, and they had their kids in the school, and they, just like anyone else, they cared about their kids. They, and unfortunately they were changing people's minds and things. And then as of a few years ago, it just got worse and worse there, and they finally ended up moving to San Diego or something. But
oh, that's terrible.
So it's gone backwards. But just there are certain places. I'm from New York, and so a lot of areas in New York, it's not a big deal. It's but there's pockets from Long Island, and there's where it's still, you have a lot of people that it's just, again, some of it's religion and some it's just conservative or whatever. But it's just, even I interviewed Shelley Wright, the country singer. I don't know if you know her. Came out a few years ago, and she had a bunch of country hits. But it's hard for a Nashville country singer to come out.
Right.
And,
that's another example.
Yeah. And she lives in New York with her wife, and they're raising two kids. And I thought she probably has no issues in New York City. Like, nope, she says some places she doesn't feel comfortable holding her wife's hand. And, in one business, they were treated kind of badly because they were lesbians. And so it's still in certain places you wouldn't even expect, but it's definitely more in certain places. Yeah. But it is a lot better than it was. I don't want to downplay that of like, 20 or 30 years ago. And a lot of it's thanks to certain organizations like PFLAG, which I spoke with a lot of people in that, who parents and friends of lesbians and gays, and it's a great organization.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even know about them until I started researching for the book. And I'm like, how did I not know about them 20 years ago? But it's such a good organization with any child, or not even a child. It could be an adult whose parents are still having an issue with their children being gay or lesbian. And they just have meetings, and it's just very, just a great group, and it just helps people. And there's a lot of groups like that I speak about in the book. And I really learned a lot from writing it, which is good. And then, it's funny, today, someone sent me a message. Oh, your book was a hit. I got it as a gift for, I think it was their cousin, and their son is 15. He just told them gay, and they found the book very helpful. So that was kind of good to hear, because.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a bit like when I started this podcast, I was just kind of messing around, and but you learn so much when you start a new project, just about whatever it is, and writing even more so when you start to research writing. I mean, I'm also an actor a little bit, and when you research a role, you can find out an amazing amount of things. So writing, I just can't imagine. And I did want to ask you also, you write a lot. I saw you're working on several scripts on your website, and you're raising money for one of them. So what is your process as a writer? Do you write everything? Do you put away time every single day? Do you wake up in the middle of the night? Do you like take hallucinogens and go in the desert? What's your process? How do you?
I don't do the hallucinogens or go in the desert. But it's funny you say in the middle of the night, because I literally will have ideas when I'm half asleep or in the morning. And I think I had a song idea. It was either this morning or yesterday, but I'll pull out my phone and like record it right away, whatever the idea is. Whether it be for a song or a script or whatever. I don't really set aside, okay, I'm going to write every day from 10 to 3 or whatever. I mean, I should be more disciplined in that respect. But I am pretty disciplined of writing a certain amount each week. Still never as much as I really should or want to. But in quarantine, that's one good thing about this the quarantine. It's like, well, I got plenty of time. People are saying they're bored at home. I'm like, oh my god, I got 10 scripts here. I'm writing another book and 5 songs I'm working on. You know, but it's funny you said you used the word singer in my introduction. I'm not really a singer, more definitely writer, and then I can carry a tune if it's not too heavy. But and you can sound in some of my demos. I sing on them, and I sound okay. But it's in the studio, and it's not an audience. It's not as nerve wracking. But yeah, and so I write. It depends. Like I'm working on a script now, which is called Memorial Day Weekend. Ironically, I started it like 5 years ago, and it's been sitting here. I'm like, well, we just passed Memorial Day Weekend, so kind of made me pull it out. So I but I'm still not sure where I have like 40 pages, but I'm not sure where it's going yet. And I'm not a writer either that plans out too much of where the story's going to go either. Like I kind of might have an idea of the middle and what's going to happen at the end. But like some writers will use cute, index cards and they plot out everything. I just kind of have to see where it goes. I may have to go back and change a bunch of stuff because it goes somewhere where, oh wait, now that doesn't make sense. What happened on page 7? So it might be a little more work. Yeah, but I have to work that way. I can't just, So, and I just get ideas all over the place. I mean, I have too many ideas.
Too many ideas
to write.
Better than not enough. I mean, I think it was Stephen King that I've heard say, and some other writers that when they write a book, their characters tell them what's going to happen, and that sounds really scary to me. But it's interesting. It's like they start writing and it goes somewhere. So you just never know how that process is gonna come about. Yeah. And
then it's a lot of rewriting. Like the Waccamaw, my Prada script was rewritten at least 25 times different, and I actually, Tom Archdeacon kind of came on and helped with some of the rewrites. And so he's a co-writer on that. He also helped produce it and stuff. But most of them I write myself, but I do have a couple scripts I co-wrote, which is kind of fun and interesting to do that as well. Because it kind of takes you in a different direction you would go. I suggest anyone that writes, it's a good thing to do. Just even if you write songs or whatever, it's kind of fun. And not everyone's going to be a good match or whatever, but you could try. I have a lot of fun writing with artist Olsen. She's in San Diego, so we do a lot of it by computer. But we have the same sense of humor and the same thing. So we've been writing all these drinking songs for some reason. We have one that we wrote called "A Grain of Salt and a Margarita." Like any advice people give you, you just take it with a grain of salt and a margarita. But it's more about the margarita. Oh,
that's good. Yeah.
And, but I don't know. I'm as far as how I write. I mean, I have my computer here, and I have Final Draft for the scripts, which helps immensely. Because I didn't know how to write any. I didn't want to go to school for writing. I went to school for marketing and business and stuff, and then I decided I want to do acting, and then I started more writing. Yeah. So but I took some screenwriting workshops, and one of the scripts came through that, and I read some books on it, and I had other people read my stuff and give suggestions, and I've done co-writing. So I kind of learned by doing mostly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I know a lot of script writers who have learned that's how they've learned. I mean, I know others who've gone to college for it, but it seems like a lot of people learn that way. And you were on Walk a Mile in My Shoes. You were the writer? You were an actor. Did you also produce on that? I produced it also. I did not direct it. Some people they say, oh, and he's the director. I'm like, no, I'm not the director. Joey Sylvester directed it. And I wrote it. And I didn't play I didn't write it for me to play the main character in it. My head's not that big. It's this big, maybe. And so I play a part Brian in it, which is cool. I was in like 5 or 6 scenes, and one of them, Tom Arnold, was in that scene, and he's in a bunch of the scenes. He was fun to work with, and so it was a lot to take on. It was a lot of hats, as they say. Yeah. And it was low budget, so we did the what do you call it, location scouting. We did a lot of the casting. But now I know why those people get paid what they get paid, because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and that's kind of what I wanted to ask you. If you were doing all that, if you were casting and doing all the what they call the producer. And I mean, we had a lot of help with people that helped. Like Tom, like I mentioned, Tom Archdeacon was the co-producer, and then we had obviously our executive producers that came on board and got us the money. That was very helpful. And then just everyone really chipped. Even our main actor, Nathaniel Marston, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago.
he was helping us, bring the chairs in to set up the next scene and stuff, like.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah. It's hard to get those things done. So what, the other thing I wanted to ask was like, what brought you to LA? Did you come to act, or did you come to go to school, or, what brought you there from New York?
It was about the time of the O.J. Simpson trial. So they were looking for him or something. No, I came in 2000 and, I worked a catering thing where he was at my table a year before that whole thing happened. O.J.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, so in 2002 is when I came out to LA to do acting. Like I was in New York doing a little bit of acting, a few lines on soaps, a few, independent films. But there was only at the time, 4 TV shows filming in New York: Law and Order Special Victims Unit, Law and Order Criminal Intent, and I Still Know What You Did on Law and Order last summer. No, but there was a few.
So all the actors were being employed in New York.
Well, yeah, and those were the only 4 shows. But
every actor in Hollywood's on those 4 shows.
So anyway, so I really went out to LA thinking I'm going to do more, and I don't really do stage, musicals or stage stuff. So it's like, I should be in LA, not in New York.
Right.
So I left. I was in New York City 6 years before that, Long Island. So I came out here to do acting, but I had just gotten the idea just before I moved out for the Welcome on My Prada's theme for a movie.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Originally, came to me as like a Switching Places movie, like the gay guy and the straight guy, they get their bodies switched. And then they do get their sexuality switched, but not their bodies is what happens.
Right.
It's just some Christmas magic 2 weeks before the straight guy's wedding. And so, yes, but as soon as I got out of here, I got more into writing, like almost right away. I mean, I did a little bit of acting stuff, but I took that screenwriting workshop. I wrote that script. I already had an idea for another script, and I started that one. In fact, I think the second script was almost done before we even shot the Prada movie, because that was a long process. It took the time I wrote it to be finished, it was 7 years because of, we tried to get big producers to do it, like our studios.
Right.
Then it was rewritten 10, 15 times, and then we thought we had the money and we were going to shoot ourselves, and we didn't have it, and then so it's, and then we shot it, and then took a year to get to put the music in, get it edited, get it,
yeah,
and then so there's a lot. People people just they don't even know what goes on.
Well, it's true. That's why I like having people on a podcast that can give a little insight on it, because people do not have any idea. I mean, just I've just the stuff I've done as an actor, very small productions, but I mean, one of the movies I was in, the producer worked on it I think she worked on it for 10 years, and this was really a short film. It wasn't even a feature, and I was so just shocked that she kept it up. It just really amazed me that she kept with it for that long. And I know a lot of people, a lot of movies take 10 years to make. And I was just watching the series. I think it's called Hollywood. Have you seen that on Netflix?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Okay. I did good, because I wanted to ask you some things about that. But I was reminded that, well, in those days, it took 2 weeks. You're going to make a movie here we go. You've got your actors because you already hired them. You've got all, everyone's already hired. And 2 weeks, boom, you got a movie. So it's interesting how much has changed. And now, because of what's happening in the world, movies are going to be no one knows how they're going to make the next movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. We shot, if you have a lower budget independent film too, you tend to shoot in fewer days too, because you only have the budget. So you're shooting really long days. And so we actually shot our movie in 16 days and then 3 days of pickups. So that was pretty quick.
That's fast. Yeah.
But we didn't have the money to do a whole, like Tom Arnold, you better get it right the first time, because we don't have, okay. He's good at improvising too, which is good. And
he just is such a natural. I watched a bit of the film, and he just takes over a room without even trying. I mean, whatever he's in, interesting character.
Yeah, and we had a lot of good people really on board. Dee Wallace was the mother of Tony, the main character, and she was absolutely great to work with. I mean, I would use her in other. I'm going to try and use her in some of my other stuff, but I recommend her. She's very sweet and just professional.
She's done a couple things.
Yeah, and Mike Starr we had in it, who was in Dumb and Dumber and Goodfellas, and he's a really nice guy, and he was fun to work with too.
So how's the latest project going? How
Well,
close are you getting close? Or you still got a ways to go? Do you have 10 more rewrites to do?
well, it's been rewritten many, many times, and I think the last one really kind of nailed it. Or things are always going to change, even until the last minute. Even on set, you're going to come up with a better line or something. But
Right.
we were getting a little closer, and then of course with Corona and all that stuff, everything's just on halt. But
Yeah.
we, had John Schneider wanted to play the lead of Charlie, and we had Jolie Fisher to direct it, and we have a couple people. It's getting the money is the hardest. We have some people that are going to put some in, and then we have other people that, if we get this much, we'll put some in. So it's this long process, but we're still looking for investors and people, executive producers for it. It's a bigger budget than the last movie, so it's a little bit more. And I really want to get Dolly Parton in it.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
As herself. And that one's a totally different movie too. The other one, like I said, is the kind of switching places of a gay guy and a straight guy, and it's a wacky comedy. And this one is more of a inspirational family film with a lot of country music in it. So yeah, my scripts are different, always, all different kinds of stuff I write. Mostly comedy, but yeah.
When you do are you doing the rewrites because you look at it and think, no, I got to redo this? Or are you getting feedback from people that are interested in producing it or directing it and they want to rewrite? So which way is that? Or is it both?
It's a little bit of each. And it's, like some of it you just realize, okay, this scene could be better and I'm going to rewrite it. Or I don't even need this scene, I'm going to take it out, some of it is someone read it and just gave you feedback, and some of it might make sense and some of it doesn't, and so you kind of go along those lines. Some of it, I know some places, like if they want a really clean movie, they much want to make sure there's no cursing in it or something like that,
Oh, okay. Right.
So that's kind of thing. Sometimes you'll make changes because the budget's going to be a certain amount. So you're like, okay, like with the Welcome of My Pride, there was a big wedding scene originally, and that went out with the helicopter and everything because the budget came way down. So that could be a factor.
Cut the budget in half with that.
Yeah. But a lot of times I just let the story what the story is, and then if I need to change. Sometimes, yeah, a lot of it is, if there's investors in the movie, they might want certain things they prefer, so you try to work with that also. But with this one, it's just, any script should go through 10 or 15 rewrites no matter what, because a good writer is going to find better ways to say things or show things or to do scenes better, or makes it might even be certain parts confusing. It's not confusing to the writer because he wrote it, but he doesn't realize, oh wait, they're not going to understand what that means or something. But so it's, I love when people, I had a roommate once and he stayed with me. He had an idea for a script, and in 3 days he was at the computer he was staying with me, or so I just remember, and he was like done in 3 days with this script. Like he thought he was done. I'm like, so
yeah, that's a good point about people maybe not understanding something that totally makes sense to you. I've run into that many times reading people's scripts. It's like, well, what are you trying to say here? You understand this, but the people watching this, they're gonna have no clue what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to my book of questions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, wait. Let me get my book of answers.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's amazing. We went through almost everything. So because you came to Hollywood, started acting and then writing, and then have you written any? Is this your first? Have you written any other books since your book? Are you writing more books?
I'm writing more. Yeah, but that was my first book. I didn't plan on writing a book. I didn't plan on writing scripts, actually. I used to write sketches and songs, and then I started writing scripts, and then I had the idea for the book, and I have a book which is kind of started as a joke, but I have 180 pages, and it's pretty funny. It's called "How Catering Sucked the Life Right Out of Me." Okay. So it's about some of my past catering experience, and it's kind of fun. And I say it's a book for anyone who's done catering or has gone to a catered event. So it's for everyone.
Oh, there you go. Which everyone has.
And then I'm working on another book with an illustrator called People Peeves Pets Have. So
Oh,
people have
nice.
pet peeves, and that means pets have people peeves, things that bug the crap out of them about their owners or people. It's a very funny, with funny illustrations, and then it's going to be a calendar also in a book, and that's almost done, and hopefully will be out later this year, like for the 2021 calendar and the book. And we're going to try to do a little animated series on the characters we came up with the pets and stuff. But so I think that's it on the books that and I have a couple scripts I'm trying to finish. I have 10 or 12 finished. Feature films done. It's funny the way you introduced me. You said I think you said I wrote like at least 5 films, and it sounded like, I had 5 films that are out there and they're done. No, that's the hard part. Writing is easy; it's getting them out there. But I have people looking at some of the other scripts, and hopefully, they'll get made. And I even, I write songs, and that's hard to get those recorded and stuff. But I recorded a video last year of "Midnight Will Be Clear." It was a Christmas song that I wrote, and one of the guys in the video liked the song so much he recorded it for his Christmas album in Nashville that's coming out later this year and stuff. So that was kind of cool. Like it's cool when someone else records, and he sings much better than I do, because I'm not a great singer. But yeah.
Well, yeah, because the recordings, the demos, as you said, sound really good, and it's interesting because hardly anybody does. It doesn't seem like much people do demos anymore. Because they can record a lot cheaper now. People seem to just record their stuff and put it out. So it's good that you're taking your time with it, wanting to get the right voices on it, and the demos sound great.
And for the video, I did a couple of Christmas videos of songs I wrote, and it works for that. It's they're kind of fun videos, and I have a bunch of more Christmas songs I wrote that I still want to do. I have to do the demos still. Now, I call them a demo, but the guy does a really good job where it sounds like it could be released on radio. I mean, if it really was, it would go a little further with some of the stuff. But he does the harmonies on them in the background and plays all the instruments, and he has a nice studio. So, and he's pretty reasonable. Andy Macon, he's in San Diego, Big Rock Studios. But if I really want, like, if it was going to be played on the radio and stuff, someone who sings better than I should do them. Yeah.
Okay, modest. But oh yeah, if only everyone had the foresight to that. And then there's not that there's anything wrong with your singing, but there's.
Yeah. I mean, I'm okay. I do sing better than Bob Dylan and Yoko Ono. I know that. So
Yeah. Well, there's where you know how important writing is.
And William Hung, I sing better than him too.
Bob Dylan.
I'm really dating myself now.
You are. Dylan's all about the writing. Come on, and the character. I mean, yeah.
He might be a better writer than I am.
And the character. I guess history will tell. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. His birthday was yesterday. He turned 79.
Oh my gosh! Really?
Yeah. Either yesterday or the day before. Out of the days just meshed together now. I don't know what day it is anymore.
Yeah, nobody does. It's helping that I'm starting doing this again. This is the first podcast I've done in 30 days.
Oh, cool.
I started to get got into a darker space. I won't say depression, because there's people with real depression. So I'm not. But yeah, I'm highly encouraged by all the people that want to be on a podcast. So now I can get back to it. And
I'm laughing because I have a script called Sinking Low, which is about a guy who fakes having depression to make $5,000 from a study for a new drug. Because he's trying to buy his girlfriend an engagement ring or something. So he's doing it for a good reason, but she finds out and she gets mad because he's faking. She doesn't know about the ring, but faking depression, and she dumps him, and then he really gets depressed and stuff. But again, that's just sitting right up here waiting.
Then he gets into real depression.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
But he's the only one in the study not having all the side effects, so it gets suspicious, like, what's going on. And it's funny, it's a comedy, but not really a comedy about depression, but kind of.
But kind of.
Yeah.
Like the Joker, comedy, pure comedy. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Wow, that was dark. Yeah, I don't write.
That was a hard movie.
Yeah, and I don't write dark. I can't. I don't know. Like I mean, I watch it. I watch those shows like Ozark and all those dark,
Yeah.
But I can't write. I mean, that's not I do more just comedy, goofy. I mean, I have one courtroom drama thing. But yeah, but I enjoy watching those. I just couldn't write that I don't think.
I love watching those. And I think about the actors, producers, directors, writers going through it, we watch it for an hour. They did it for 6-7 months, and they were in that and as an actor or anyone involved, you got to kind of be in that reality a little bit. It's like, man, I hope they're doing a lot of meditation. I hope they're doing a lot of meditation. Me and my wife tend to watch a lot of very dark stuff, just because a lot of the incredible shows seem to be really dark. I mean, Ozark is amazing. Hollywood, watching the Hollywood series was such a relief because, hey, it's not really dark. It is dark, but it's not. I mean, it goes a little bit, but nothing like those. I don't think anyone got their head cut off, and there.
I don't think
so that I can think of. But it was interesting because I did want to ask you about. I'm glad you watched that because I was curious. It seemed to me there was a couple things that struck me. One was they seemed like they were really stereotyping. I was a little surprised because no one knew Rock Hudson was homosexual until he got AIDS. No one knew about it, so he was very good at covering it. I'm sure everyone in Hollywood. I assume everyone in Hollywood knew. It's hard to tell, but they did. I mean, it seemed like some of their characters, although they were trying to send that message. It seemed like some of them were pretty dark in that way. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. And also, I think that it was kind of weird because they were almost doing like that Quentin Tarantino thing where they were changing the history and what actually happened. So some of the things like with Rock Hudson, the guy playing him, I think a lot of people knew. They know what's going on inside and all that. But I think I think what you're saying is like they made it so him saying and doing things that he seemed more open. Well, that was part of the point. They did things that didn't really happen in history. They were using, what do you call it? Creative. What's that called?
Creative license.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Which is I caught the Tarantino vibe also. It was like, well, Tarantino does this, why can't we? And they did a good job at it. I thought it was an amazing show, but I just wondered what your take was.
I'm trying to think if I noticed these stereotypes as much. I think it was kind of done in a style of how they did movies back then, maybe too, and maybe that's what was. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, I think you're probably right that there were. I don't know if I noticed them as much, and I just kind of, I don't know. I just enjoyed watching it. I know I've seen people really like it, and some people criticize it, and I just found it just fun to watch, and just just fun. And there's a lot of like I say, even though they played around with the poetic license and all that. Oh, poetic, is that?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Poetic license. That's a better word for it.
Well, I forgot what we said before, but I knew something was off. Anyway, English is my 28th language, so I don't think I noticed as much as you. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Like even with the African American that were they were nominated and they gave her the lead and all that. That really didn't happen way back then either and stuff. But it was a nice fantasy. That was like a really that's kind of
don't we wish? But I like how they were. It seemed like they were showing today's Hollywood by using old Hollywood as sort of. But this is really what's happening, because it seemed to me they were saying this is still happening. This is still Hollywood of today, but we're going to present it as old Hollywood. And I mean, one thing I did like about it is they seemed to say, well, the casting couch was for everyone. That was something that was like, that's a good point.
That's what I forgot to do with my movie. I forgot to have a casting couch.
Well, maybe
I forgot something.
Maybe next time. A lot of good-looking people there too. You blew them.
Oh, in Hollywood or in my movie?
In your movie.
Okay.
Gosh, yeah. I did think that, I always forget his name. I'm the one person on the planet that doesn't watch his show. But the manager, the guy who played the manager in Hollywood, who was the one.
What's his name? And when I was watching, I'm like, I know that guy. I couldn't think of his name. Dylan McDermott? Is it Dylan McDermott? No.
Oh, not Dylan McDermott. He was genius too. I mean, Rock Hudson's manager.
Yes.
Hudson's manager. From.
Isn't he in Devil Wears Prada too? No. Is he the guy? Wait, let me think.
He's on the TV show about the geeks or the nerds, depending on how you put it. Anyway, he was genius. He was very good.
Yeah, I mean, great cast.
Totally. Yeah, it was. It was.
I mean, there was people in them like, oh,
yeah.
And I'm trying to remember now. I just watched it a few weeks ago, but I'm already forgetting. But yeah, I enjoy it. And I don't know. Some people. Oh, stereotypes. I was going to say. Going back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even in my movie, there are some stereotypes and stuff. And in most stereotypes, some of it comes from a certain. Not everyone is what the stereotype is, but a percentage are, and it's some of it can be funny, but some of it can be, if you go too far with it, or it's definitely something that's a bad thing. It's not true, and this and that. So, but there's a certain. I think we can allow a little bit of stereotypes here and there, but just be careful. Just not as long as it's not. I don't know, totally offensive. Unless it's Family Guy, then you can be totally offensive.
Then you can be totally offensive. Yeah.
And I've been watching. I tell everyone, don't bother me between 5 and 7 p.m. because reruns of All in the Family's on Get TV.
Oh, that's great.
And that's
really funny.
It is. It's still hilarious, and just how Archie Bunker and how, but it's so sweet in some ways too, because there were times he would show him a human side, and he didn't really wish harm on people. He just didn't know any better, and he was an idiot sometimes. But it was showing that, and it's just such genius, that show, and just funny. Oh my God, I'm rewatching. It's still 40 years old or however old, and it's the same things still apply. They're arguing about gun control. They're about religion, about politics, nothing's changed.
They have episodes about gays. They have episodes about everything. Well, yeah, a lot of the episodes, of course, are about racism because of it. But they don't. Yeah, and it's probably would never get made today.
And the thing is, it got people talking.
Would never get made today. Yeah, it did get people talking, and it was also. I mean, the writing was amazing, and the acting was, that made stars out of
characters
all
were just great. Yeah,
characters were just amazing, and seeing Rob Reiner in Hollywood was one of the biggest treats.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was really cool.
That's so funny that they got him to play the studio head. Yeah,
I knew there was a tie-in. I knew I brought up All in the Family for a reason. I didn't.
Yeah, there was a. That's true. That's true.
He was good. Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing. Which he always is. You just don't get to see him act much anymore.
He used to direct a lot. I don't know if he's been doing that now, but that's the first time I've seen him in something in a long time. I don't remember the last thing. Yeah. So.
Yeah, been a while. Well, I should probably wrap this up. Let you get back to writing. You're going to go right back to.
Well, it's actually almost 5, so I got to go watch All in the Family. I just.
Oh my gosh! Oh. Well, we better cut this off then, because there is no way you can watch it except for the time that it's on. There's no other way.
Wait, can I tell you? I ordered the DVDs a couple years ago, and they all came, they were out of order or something. Like it wasn't, they were labeled wrong or something. And I contacted the company and told them that, this is labeled as this episode. It's not even the right episode. I don't know if they're all that way, or, each episode, I don't know if I'm watching them. And so they sent me a whole nother box set, and it was the same thing. So they've made a mistake so I sent them all back. So now I'm watching them on Get TV.
That's interesting. Well, that makes me wonder if the company you ordered them from was pirating them all.
I think it was from the regular,
It was from the production.
Yeah, and maybe it was just that one episode, but I had no way of knowing if I was. Anyway, but the fact that they didn't even read what the problem was, I don't know. Anyway, so.
Well, I just noticed that my name is right on the screen, so that's easy to figure out who's talking.
Yeah, and mine I have both. My legal name is Sudi, but I also go by Rick. So.
That was another question I had for you. Yeah, the Sudi Rick. So Sudi is that's your given name,
right?
And, okay.
It's a Turkish name. It's not even a common Turkish name, and and then Rick was a nickname because I was joked that Sudi was short for Sudrik, which is not. So I got the nickname Rick, and so for acting mostly I was using Rick Karatas, so they at least knew I spoke English and stuff, and because I was called in for the Pakistani cab driver, and then this and that, and this is so anyway.
And do you speak other languages?
Just a little Turkish, and a little Spanish. Yeah, probably about the same of each. I would love to be fluent in both, but a little bit of each. Yeah.
Well, you can always get one of those apps.
Well, I've been doing Duolingo a little bit, and I tried Rosetta Stone, but I never have time for that. I'm like, I really should be writing, not doing Spanish, and so
Not
it
learn.
just
Yeah.
sits there. Yeah. So
No, I understand. I started one of them, and then they wanted me to join, and I just didn't want to give my info to one more
right.
place. So anyway, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I will wrap this up. Is what I'll do. Man, really appreciate you coming on. It's been a great conversation.
Thanks. Yeah.
This has been fun. You've been listening to Were You Still Talking with Joel Albrecht and Sudi, sometimes Rick Karatas, and. Thanks a lot for listening. I will be back with another podcast real soon. And as always, be good to each other.